It's been a while since we last made a video. That's because, as some of you might have seen from our tease, we're working on something big. Comment down below if you have any idea of what that could be. If you guess correctly, you might win a special prize. But yeah, we'll be sharing more details in the upcoming weeks. So until then, here are 9 major new iPhone 15 updates that came out since our previous video from back in July. Okay, so first things first, we now have a very good idea of the iPhone 15's range of colors, which are Midnight, Starlight, Orange, Blue, and Yellow. Compared to the iPhone 14, the orange would be completely new, and I also think that the blue would likely see some changes, as Apple does tend to change their blue color every single year. The only colors that seem to have been removed would be the purple and the product red, which I do see Apple introducing during their spring event. Now, when it comes to the Pro models, this is where things get interesting. That red color that got rumored ages ago, that's no longer happening. And instead, we are set to get space gray, silver, a new dark shade of blue that reminds me of the iPhone 12's Pacific Blue, one of my favorite colors on any iPhone, and then a brand new color that's never been seen on any iPhone before, and that is this gunmetal gray. Now, this gunmetal gray does look similar to some of the exclusive online colors that Samsung was offering for some of their phones. Personally, the dark blue is still my favorite, but you can't argue with the fact that the gunmetal gray does look very stunning. Comment down below with which one's your favorite. Now, probably the best part about these new colors is that they are also set to come with color-matched cables, according to leaker MyJinBoo. And these cables are also braided, matching Apple's recent iMac cables, MagSafe cables, and Apple's keyboard and mouse cables. The Pro models of the iPhone would also feature color-matched cables. Now, these new cables are also considerably longer at 1.5 meters as opposed to just 1, while also being more durable. In case you're wondering why is Apple making such a big change with their iPhones this year, well, it is probably due to the iPhones switching to USB Type-C, which would likely upset some Apple users who had a large number of Lightning accessories. All of these durability improvements and new colors are likely there to possibly sweeten the deal for some. But it doesn't mean that it's all good news. For many months now, I've been saying that the transfer speeds of the iPhone 15 are likely still going to be USB 2.0 speeds, despite the USB Type-C connector, in order for Apple to keep manufacturing costs low. Plus, they've literally done the exact same thing with a 10th gen iPad. Well, my theory was unfortunately confirmed by MyJinBoo, who upon testing these cables discovered that, yes, they are indeed USB 2.0. Luckily, my other theory that the iPhone 15 Pros will feature faster transfer speeds in order to facilitate ProRes and ProRAW transfers has also been confirmed. Charger Lab was able to find USB 4/Thunderbolt chipsets in these iPhone 15 Pro USB-C connectors, meaning that we should indeed be seeing Thunderbolt speeds of 40 gigabits per second on the 15 Pros, which would be 83 times faster than the 480 megabits per second on the regular iPhone 15s. However, it doesn't seem like the iPhone 15 Pros will actually come with a Thunderbolt cable in the box, but rather the same USB 2.0 cable that the standard 15s will come with. This is thanks to MyJinBoo once again, who managed to test a special type of cable that Apple will likely sell separately for the 15 Pros. This cable is indeed USB 4, it is also less than half the length of the charging cable, which is usually the case for fast cables, and supports up to 150 watts of fast charging. The iPhone won't support that fast of a charging, but I'll get to that later in the video. I'm very curious to see if we do get any sort of extra functionality from that Thunderbolt port, other than just, the faster transfer speeds. I would love, for example, to be able to use my iPhone as external storage for my Mac, as the iPhone's internal storage is plenty fast for that, or have the ability to connect it to an external monitor and keyboard, similar to what you can already do with the iPad. Oh, what's this? My mom's phone is broken and her friend is just texting me asking for money to replace it. I better help. Wrong. Hacker Ren strikes again, this time by impersonating my family through WhatsApp. Hacker Ren's impersonation scam was pressuring me to send funds fast without processing the threat. Our sponsor, NordVPN, can help you spot covered scams and keeps you safe. NordVPN features threat protection that stops trackers and harmful ads, plus it scans your files and blacklists harmful websites. This is on top of the usual VPN benefits, such as better access to streaming services and private browsing. Go to nordvpn.com/ZOTVPN and get additional time for free and a massive discount on their 2-year plan. Nord also has a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can safely give it a go without any risks. Now, since we're talking cables, I do want to talk about charging. So yeah, iPhones don't have the fastest charging speeds by any means. Sure, they can charge to 50% in 30 minutes, which is similar to Samsung and Pixel phones, but when you compare that to phones from OnePlus, Oppo, Xiaomi, it's not even a competition, as some of those phones can charge up to 100% in 30 minutes and up to 50% in just a few minutes. Now, that's still not going to change with the iPhone 15s, but we might at least get some slightly faster speeds, as according to 95Mac, industry sources are pointing towards charging speeds of up to 35 watts from the current 27 watts on the iPhone 14 Pros, which might allow us to charge up to 50% in about 25 minutes or so rather than 30. So yeah, not a big difference, but still a difference. We also finally have some details regarding the A17 chip. So all we knew up until this point was that 1, it would be Apple's first chip to be based on a smaller 3nm manufacturing process, and that 2, it would be exclusive to the iPhone 15 Pros, with the regular 15s to use the A16 chip that's currently inside the iPhone 14 Pros. Well, according to leaker UnknownZ21, the Apple A17 chip will also feature a higher clock speed of 3.7 GHz, which would indeed be a pretty big jump from the current 3.46 of the A16. Not only that, but we're also getting 1 extra GPU core for a total of 6 as opposed to 5. Yeah, pretty crazy that we're now approaching almost the same GPU core count as the base M1 chip that came with 7. The only thing that's more surprising, I should say, from UnknownZ21's tweet is that apparently the RAM would stay at 6 GB as opposed to 8 like we've seen rumored before plenty of times. I do find it a bit hard to believe, since Apple has been using 6 GB of RAM since the iPhone 12 Pro, and I gotta say, Apple's RAM management, at least for me, has been pretty poor, with a lot of the apps that I'm using constantly having to reload from the background. So I do hope that those initial rumors of us getting 8 gigs do still happen. Then Apple is also said to be making 2 big changes when it comes to their storage. More specifically, the base iPhone 15 Pro models are now set to start at 256 GB as opposed to 128, which would make me really, really happy, as 256 has been my go-to storage tier for a number of years now. And 2, apparently there will also be a higher tier option of 2 TB. Double of the highest option on the 14 Pros. Like, I don't even know who would ever need a 2 TB iPhone. Like, even if you downloaded a ton of Netflix movies and you took a lot of videos and photos, even then it would take you many years to fill a 2 TB iPhone. But who knows, maybe Apple is indeed working on a special feature that will take use of both that Thunderbolt port and this higher tier storage option. Just a few weeks until we find out. Speaking of a few weeks, we might have to actually wait a few more weeks until we get our hands on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which, by the way, might actually be called Ultra, like initially rumored. The reason for this delay apparently being Sony not having their new camera sensor ready in time for the September launch, with the delay expected to be between 3 to 4 weeks. It's not really clear which camera sensor is actually causing this delay, whether this is the new periscope module that would be exclusive to the 15 Pro Max, or the new main sensor, which was also rumored to be exclusive to the 15 Pro Max. Something else that would also be exclusive to the Pro Max and the Pro is a higher price point. I have discussed this in our previous video, but now we have even more sources pointing towards this higher price. Essentially, Digitime claims that the Pro models would be at least $100 more expensive, which Mark Gurman and analyst Jeff Pu also report. So in this case, expect the 15 Pro to start from $1,100 rather than $1,000, and then the 15 Pro Max to start from $1,300 compared to $1,200. This isn't all that bad if you were like me and you've always upgraded the storage to 256, in that case the cost would essentially be the same, but if you've always bought the base storage, then now you'll have to pay $100 more for that. If anything, the ones who will be impacted the most will be the ones outside the US, in places such as here in the UK, Brazil, and the EU, where iPhone prices have typically been much higher than in the US. Oh, and according to multiple sources, it doesn't seem like Apple will be offering their leather cases anymore with the iPhone 15s. This might be Apple trying to be more eco-friendly. Leakers Maijin Bu and Duan Rui both shared images of what's said to be Apple's replacement for the leather cases. Essentially, woven fabric cases made from a combination of eco-friendly materials. And I don't know if it's the images or what, but yeah, these cases look very off. As in, they have this weird texture on the back, which I'm assuming is trying to mimic the previous leather finish, and for some reason, they just look very thick. At the end of the day, even if Apple does end up releasing these exact cases, if you don't like them, you can just pick up a third-party leather case. Nomad has some great options, which you can check out by using the link below. Stay tuned to the channel for more iPhone 15 updates, as well as more info on that big thing that we've been working on. I'm Daniel, this has been ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.